Okay, welcome back. Today, we are doing a deep dive into, well, the very DNA of storytelling, are we?
We are. Specifically, that incredibly valuable bit right at the start of any film script.
The opening pages, that first impression.
Exactly. And the big challenge, the one we see all the time, is getting that set up right.
Huh.
Hooking the audience without just drowning them in detail.
Because it's where they decide, isn't it? Pretty quickly.
Oh, absolutely. You've got maybe 10, 15 pages. That's like, 10 minutes of screen time?
Mm-hmm.
And in that time, you have to convince them, make them care about this person, this world, this problem that's brewing.
Yeah, if you don't earn that investment straight away, the script's basically dead in the water.
Dead on arrival. Happens all the time.
So when we say setup, just to be clear, we're talking about everything from page 1 right up until the inciting incident hits.
Right, that big moment.
And the inciting incident itself, that's usually pretty clear, right? It's like the external event that just crashes into the protagonist's life.
Yep, the thing that forces their hand, demands they do something.
It kicks off the main journey.
It's the starting gun, basically.
Yeah.
Before that, the character's just living their normal life. Maybe it's flawed, maybe it's okay, but it's their normal.
The inciting incident shatters that equilibrium, pushes them out.
Exactly.
But, while that moment is usually definable and it's not the catalyst, sometimes that comes earlier. But the specific thing that forces the main conflict, it's those pages before it. That's where writers seem to stumble most often.
Well, yeah, because there isn't always a hard and fast rule for what must go in there.
Mm-hmm.
It feels a bit looser.
Mm-hmm.
And that lack of a clear boundary, that's the challenge. It
Yeah.
leads writers to think, okay, I need to prepare the audience for everything.
Right, cover all the bases.
Yeah, they start overpacking.
Yeah.
There's this mistaken idea that, the more details you cram in, the better prepared the audience will be.
Which feels logical, but it's actually counterintuitive, isn't it? So our mission today really is to cut through that confusion, to show that the setup isn't just this empty space you fill randomly.
It has a job to do, a very specific one.
And it actually only needs to establish 2 key pieces of context to work really effectively. Just 2 anchors.
And if you understand what those anchors are, you can avoid that huge mistake of just burying the audience in information that ultimately hurts the story.
Okay, let's talk about that trap, because nearly every writer hears some version of that, that vague advice.
Oh yeah, the show them at home, at work, and at play thing.
Exactly. It sounds sensible, right? Get the full picture, 3 dimensions.
But if you don't know why you're showing those things, what purpose they serve for this story, it just leads to overload.
You end up throwing in scenes just because they technically fit into home or work.
Right. Let's say your hero is a detective hunting a killer. Do we really need 3 pages of them arguing with their landlord about a leaky faucet?
Probably not, unless that leaky faucet contains the murder weapon.
Exactly. The audience's brain tries to make connections. They see that faucet scene and think, okay, how does this pay off later?
And if it doesn't, they feel cheated, like you wasted their time and mental energy.
Yeah, that's the paradox of overpacking. It ends up being somehow both too much and not enough.
Too much irrelevant stuff hiding the important bits.
Right. You've given them 5 scenes, let's say, but maybe only one actually sets up the core conflict properly. The rest is just noise. It dilutes the impact of the one scene that mattered.
An overstuffed setup can be just as damaging as one that's too thin, too vague.
Absolutely. Both leave the audience unprepared, just in different ways.
Okay, let's unpack this then. If we need to be ruthless focused, what are those 2 specific non-negotiable anchors the setup has to nail down?
Right. Everything you put in those opening pages, the actions, the dialogue, the scenes, it should all really be building towards these 2 things. First one, you need to establish the yardstick for the character arc.
Okay. Because most good movies, at their core, are about change, right? Transformation.
Exactly. We're watching someone go from point A, their starting state, often flawed, to point B, where they end up after the story's events.
So the setup needs to show us point A clearly.
Crystal clear. And this is where you need relevant specifics, not just random details about their life. You need to show us what matters for this specific story of change.
Meaning
you need to show what the character wants at the start. And just as importantly, how they typically go about getting it, even if their methods are flawed or self-destructive or just incomplete.
So we're showing their initial goal, or maybe their core misunderstanding about life, or their main flaw.
Precisely, that initial state, their behavior, their priorities.
Yeah.
That's the baseline. It's the yardstick the audience will use to measure how much they've changed by the end.
But wait, if we're only focusing on what's relevant to the arc, is there a danger the character feels a bit thin? Like a cardboard cutout designed just for the plot?
That's a really good point. It's about relevant complexity, not just any complexity. We're not saying the character isn't complex deep down.
Yeah.
We're saying for this setup, you highlight the aspects of their complexity that directly relate to their starting flaw or the central conflict to come, what they prioritize now, how they act now.
Got it. So establish that starting point, that flaw, that desire. Set the clock. Tell the audience, this is where we begin.
Exactly. Which leads perfectly into the second anchor you absolutely need.
Which is?
Creating the context for the inciting incident.
Ah, right. So the audience understands the impact when it hits.
They need to understand the why now. The inciting incident, remember, forces the character into action they probably don't want to take. It's uncomfortable. So the setup has to give the audience the information they need to understand why this character has to act when that incident drops into their lap. What's at stake for them specifically?
Because if the inciting incident happens and the audience is thinking, well, couldn't they just ignore that? Or why is that such a big deal?
Then the setup failed.
Yeah.
Completely. The story hasn't actually started because there's no compelling reason for the character to move. No urgency.
The setup needs to create a situation where ignoring the inciting incident just isn't an option based on who we've just seen this character be.
Yes. It has to feel absolutely essential for them to deal with it right now, given their established priorities and situation.
Okay, this is where it gets really interesting. Let's make it concrete. Can we look at an example of film that does this well?
Absolutely. A great example, one that's incredibly efficient in its setup, is the movie The Proposal.
Ah, okay. Ryan Reynolds, Sandra Bullock. Good one.
It's a masterclass, really, in using those first few pages to establish only these two contexts for the protagonist, Margaret.
So let's break it down. Anchor number 1, establishing the yardstick for her character arc. How does the film do that?
Well, it wastes zero time.
Okay.
We immediately see Margaret Tate as this super high-powered book editor, control, status, work that's everything to her.
Yeah, you see straight away how people react to her.
Think about those early scenes. The elevator scene where everyone just freezes. She barely acknowledges people.
Total power play.
Right. And we see she has no friends, no family shown, no warmth with colleagues. The dialogue, her actions, they all scream, I am demanding, I am isolated, and I will walk over anyone to get what I want.
Work is literally the only thing she seems to have or care about.
That's the crucial bit. It's not just that she's ambitious. It's that her entire identity, her warped sense of fulfillment, it's all tied up in that job, that power. That's her starting point, her flaw.
Okay, so yardstick established, isolated workaholic who values control above all else.
Exactly. And because that anchor is hammered home so effectively, it perfectly sets up anchor number 2.
The context for the inciting incident.
Which is when she finds out, uh-oh.
Yeah, she's Canadian, her visa's expired or rejected, and she's being deported, which means losing that job, losing everything she values.
And because the setup was so relentless in showing us that the job is her entire life, when that threat arrives, the audience gets it instantly.
The stakes are immediately clear.
We understand that losing the job isn't just an inconvenience. It's like an existential threat to her entire constructed self.
We don't need exposition dumps or flashbacks. We know why she can't just let it happen. Why she'd resort to something extreme.
Like forcing her poor assistant into a sham marriage. It's an extreme act, yes, but it feels completely believable for her based on the person we just spent 10 minutes meeting.
Right. It flows directly from who she is at the start.
And notice, even though Andrew, the Ryan Reynolds character, is there from the beginning, those first 10 minutes or so, the focus is overwhelmingly on Margaret.
Establishing her arc starting point and establishing why the deportation is a crisis for her.
Every scene is pulling double duty, reinforcing both those anchors. It's incredibly focused.
So what does this all mean for you, the writer, listening right now?
Well, the big takeaway is really about efficiency, ruthless efficiency.
Don't waste those precious opening pages.
Exactly. Spend as little time as possible on anything that doesn't directly help establish the context for the character's starting point, their arc.
Or the context needed to understand the stakes of the inciting incident.
If it doesn't serve one of those two purposes, it's probably clutter. It's noise. And it makes your crucial points harder for the audience to pick up on.
Think of it like respecting the audience's attention.
Yeah, meeting your expectation of relevance.
Yeah.
If you, the writer, show focus, the audience feels it, they trust you.
Yeah.
If you're just throwing stuff out there randomly,
Just check out.
they check out.
Yeah.
So these two anchors Context for the arc, context for the incident. They prepare the audience on two levels. The immediate plot level. Why does the character have to act now?
And the deeper emotional level, where does this character need to go? What journey are we about to watch?
It's probably the single most powerful efficiency hack you can apply to those critical opening pages.
Mhm.
It tells the reader or the viewer, okay, I'm in good hands here. Everything I'm being shown matters.
Yeah, it builds immediate confidence.
Which brings me to maybe a final thought. Something for you to chew on when looking at your own script setup. Take every single scene you've written in, say, those first 10 or 15 pages, and ask yourself this, honestly. If I cut this scene completely, would the immediate impact and the character's reaction to the inciting incident still make perfect sense?
Ah, so if the incident still lands with the same urgency and the character's motivation to act is still crystal clear even without that scene?
Then that scene probably wasn't actually establishing one of the essential anchors. And maybe it needs to go
Okay.
or be radically changed to serve one of those purposes.
That's a great practical test, a clarity check. Focuses the mind, doesn't it?
It does. It forces you back to those two core functions of the setup.
Brilliant. Well, thanks for diving deep into the structure with us today. Really clarifying stuff.
My pleasure. It's fundamental.
Absolutely. We will see you next time for the deep dive.